There we are. Perfect. Right, have a wonderful day today, aren't we? This one. Excellent, excellent. Ah, customer. Hello, greetings. Welcome to clearly the best booth in all of the Goblin Market. How can Knobb help you? Oh, it's you. Hello. Knobb was very much not expecting to see you at the Goblin Market today. Are you very aware of where you happen to find yourself, friend? Well, it's just you're not exactly a goblin, and you are also not exactly. Well, you're nice. You're a generally wholesome sort of person. It's all right, Knobb likes you anyway, but Knobb is just a bit confused to see you here at the Goblin Market. Don't you know what sort of people come here? Yes, crooks and grifters and scallywags and scruffy-looking nerf herders and any sort of manner of unsavory folk. I know it's quite wonderful, isn't it? I mean, but perhaps it's not the nicest of places for someone like you to be. Knobb would hate to see your pocket picked, or to see you, being sold something that was less than savory. Or, of course, just being lied to. There are all kinds of people here who are selling things that they say are very valuable, and they, in fact, are not very valuable. Knobb just wants to make sure that you are aware and that you are taking proper precautions. Well, of course, Knobb's items that Knobb is selling here are all completely up to snuff. They are some of the most rare and exciting and wonderful items in all of the kingdom that anyone would be very, very lucky to possess. But there are other people here who are selling much less than good merchandise, if you understand. No. You certainly don't need to be seeing any of my wares here. I mean, they are, of course, all perfect, top-notch things, but no, I think it is probably best if you just head out and find another way to spend your afternoon. No. You don't need to go see the other stalls. No, that is perfectly not necessary. All right. Knobb will show you Knobb's wares, and then you will see there is clearly nowhere in the market that would be nearly as good as what Knobb has to offer, all right? Yes, of course. Everything that Knobb has is perfect and wonderful, obviously. Yeah, that's all right. Let me just show you what I have, okay? And then you will see that there's really no need to walk around and see the rest of anything. All right, let's start with an old classic, shall we? I believe you may have seen these before. It is one of Knobb's favorite species of plants. Here, this, according to some that are quite learned in not quite as many areas as Knobb, obviously, they call them Plantificus lucidus. Sure, whatever. Knobb calls them Looky Plants. That is their official name. Don't let anyone try to sell you on that Plantificus lucidus garbage. They are Looky Plants. I mean, what else would you call them? They are plants, and they look at you. They're very lucky. So, they are quite a delightful specimen here. You do have to be careful when you're taking care of them, but if you treat them with care, this plant will be with you for a very, very long time. Now, not only does it help to serve as a lookout, in case you're ever committing crimes and need an extra pair of eyeballs, it's literally an extra pair of eyeballs. But the leaves here, you can also cut them off and make them into a stew. It gives them this lovely sort of murky, mucky flavor. Absolutely delightful. So obviously, this is quite a wise purchase. It's really the gift that keeps on giving, you know. When they start to pollinate, they release this wonderful, oozy, smelly substance. It's like snail mucus, except it smells more like rotten skunk. It's absolutely incredible. And if you take that wonderful, oozy substance, you can have a whole garden of these things. They are absolutely delightful. Any goblin would really be quite happy to have this in their gardens for them. Oh. You don't have to be rude about it. They do have feelings, you know. All right, fine. Knobb has many other things that you might find perfectly interesting as well. Like this. This is something. It is quite exotic from a land far away. Knobb has it on good authority that this was actually owned by an emperor of Kanjigar long, long ago, but I think you will see it is quite exciting. Yeah. Yes, it's one of those things that people burn to, you know, roast insects on and things like that. Huh? Well, what else would you have a tiny little flame? I mean, it's not like it's just going to sit there and look nice. It's got to have a purpose, and it is excellent for frying little cockroaches. This one happens to be shaped like a very large beast. You see, I have it on good authority that this actually was a real beast at one time, and it was shrunk down and then turned into wax. Of course, don't you have a shrinking guy? Oh, no, I have a shrinking guy. All right, fine. Anyway, it is absolutely exquisite. You can see all the different detail here. His little pedestal to make sure that he doesn't drip wax or beetle wings onto your table. Personally, I like to decorate with beetle wings, but it's not for everyone. That's all right. And then, of course, the real star of the show. That right there. It is the perfect little fire. To not commit arson, but to commit some, well, whatever you would like to, besides arson. Anyway, and this was, as I said, owned by an emperor at one point. Now, he liked to save his nicest bug burners and not actually burn them until he found the rarest bugs, which is obviously why this one has not been burnt, but it is still very, 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 very valuable. Tough sell, aren't you? Well, then you definitely don't want to be walking around the Goblin Market, because if you don't like my things, then you're not going to like anyone's. Now, this is something I think you will find very interesting. It is not a Looky Plant seed, but it is a seed pod of a different kind. You see, this is a giant seed pod of a very toxic, very carnivorous plant. Now, you don't want to actually, well, touch the plants once they start to bloom, of course. But planting this in your garden is sure to keep anyone at bay. You will never have an intruder with anything like this in your garden because, well, they won't live to actually get to the front door. Well, yes, I guess it would attack you as well. If you're not quick enough to get by it, it's a plant, it's in the ground. It's not like it can chase you. Yeah, you just have to sort of sneak around and get around it. What's your stealth modifier? Well, you probably shouldn't have this then. Alright, never mind. Here's another very, very rare item. One that was also owned by a king. This is a fascinating and beautifully crafted goblet. You see on the little feet there, it's got all of this beautiful decoration. Yes, and it's got different crests on it too. Apparently this was owned by a ruler who united these 4 kingdoms of the multi-headed dragon. What is that called? A hydra or something like that. And the lion people, and the wolfy people, and the stag people, I suppose. They're all quite ferocious animals, but the king of this realm must have been something even more ferocious, because he united all of them and then put them all on this one cup and drank his wine out of it to assert dominance. Well, I'm not sure which king exactly, but look at this. Of course it was owned by somebody very important. Why would I make anything up like that? Why would I lie to you? This is Knobb that you're talking to. Would Knobb lie to you? Well, fine. Let me show you something else. Let's see. This is quite an interesting little thing. It's very shiny. Knobb does very much like that it's shiny. And besides that, it's probably not important. Alright, let's see. Now, if you are worried about carnivorous plants, things like that seed pod, but you still want to be able to harvest their goodness, you could always use something like these. These are finger claws. So you just take them, put them onto each of your fingers like this. Just like that. And then it allows you to grab deadly, scary things without having to actually touch them. So you just sort of take your hands like this, and then you can just sort of grab them and bring them to your little basket without getting your hands anywhere near the actual toxic things. Very good for harvesting things. Also very good for getting that scratch that's way up your nose that you can't get with just your fingers. Gloves. Well, Knobb supposes you could use gloves for something like that. They'd have to be very well protected gloves, you know, especially if it is a particularly toxic plant. You wouldn't want the gloves disintegrating, but I suppose if you wanted to be boring, you could just use gloves. Fine. Let's see, perhaps Knobb has something else that you might like. Maybe you are in the market for another little friend. See, this is something made by a very powerful alchemist that Knobb knows. A sort of a mechanic and an alchemist all rolled into one. And they make beautiful little creatures that serve as traveling companions. You can use them as your eyes and your ears if you need to, or you can just have them for the companionship. This one in particular is a very beautiful crystal dragon. Here we are. Hello, out you come. Oh, were you napping? I'm sorry, but it's time to go to the market. Alright, there you are. See, look at this lovely little friend there. Do you see all of the beautiful details in them? Yeah, see, and it's all these beautiful different colors. Yes, I know, I'm just showing you off because you are so very, very pretty. And all of these little links move together. They make an excellent little shoulder dragon. Perhaps you would just like them on top of your head, too. I can just sort of sit right there. However you would like it. You could also keep them in your pocket. They do like being nice and warm and cozy. Quite intelligent little creatures, too. Honestly, the perfect companion for anyone who might be looking for a friend. Although you already have the best of friends in Knobb, don't you? So clearly you don't need something like this. No, go back in there. There. I don't want to hear it. We'll find you someone else. All right. Are you in the market for any sort of potions. Knobb has some quite wonderful potions. This one is a very, very powerful knockout potion. See, it's a nice, beautiful, deep red color. That's how you know it's bad. It's quite delicious, actually. It has sort of a nice fruity flavor to it, but it is not a fruity drink. Do not drink this. It is actually meant to just be put onto a cloth or something like that, and you can inhale it. Even just opening this up and taking a nice whiff will knock out anyone. So if you happen to be planning any sort of heists and you need to dispatch of the guards without actually killing them, or maybe you're planning on some wonderful experimentation on different species and they might be a little bit bigger and stronger than you, so you need to be able to incapacitate them. This is a wonderful potion. Oh, see, I knew you were too wholesome and nice to be here. Well, then maybe you would like something more like this. This is another type of potion. It's actually a type of wine. It's made from ice berries. And this is, in some species, perfectly fine to just drink as a nice little juice, but in most species, it actually creates quite a strange array of effects, I suppose you could say. It's quite disorienting. It does help people feel very relaxed and strange, and it is quite useful for other things too. See, I knew you shouldn't be here. Of course. I'm not going to show you that potion. That's all right. Ooh, now this is something completely different. This is something that actually can create feelings of relaxation in people. It also works as a very nice diversion when you're creating a heist, because who doesn't love the sound of rain? Isn't that just a delightful thing? It's called a storm branch. Oh, I like storm branch. It's called a storm branch because it sounds like a storm and it's the shape of a branch, sort of. Now this, of course, is an excellent item for transfixing people, and it makes a nice, loud enough sound, loud enough that it could cover up other sort of sounds, like breaking into a building or something like that. So this is an ideal accessory to the two-person job, where one person is doing the heist and the other person is the distraction, someone who perhaps doesn't have a very good stealth modifier. This could be a wonderful way to help distract people and cover up any sort of sounds that you don't want them to hear. And I suppose that it is nice and relaxing too. Maybe you don't necessarily need it for a heist. Maybe you just like to be relaxed. Alright, yes, you're right. Not everything needs to be about the heist or manipulating people or things like that. Sometimes things can just be pretty and nice and relaxing. But it's much more fun to say that it's also for a heist. Alright, let's see. Anything else that you might be interested in here? I do have a few items that are just quite useful, you know. I mean, you can have your fancy things, but sometimes you just need more of the basics. Like sharp, pointy things. You can never have too many sharp, pointy things. And these sharp, pointy things are actually a set. Quite delightful, if you ask Knobb. You see, you have one dagger here, and then you have another little dagger here. And these daggers are quite beautiful. You see, they have a wonderful design to them that makes them very, very interesting. It's got some engraving here on the blade, you can see. It's a nice curved shape, so it's easy to use and swing around. Also still small enough to be able to conceal, and just the detail there. You know, the devil is in the details, it really is. Sometimes having just a scary enough weapon makes someone who is perhaps a little bit smaller than they would like to be look a little bit bigger and scarier. So, you know what? A beautiful dagger like this is an absolute necessity. And then, of course, as I said, this is a matching set. So you've got that one there, but you've also got this very, very little one. Just a tiny little dagger here. Now this, of course, is not going to, slay a whole army or something like that, but it is absolutely easy to conceal because it is so very, very small. You could tuck this in a boot, of course. You could even tuck it in your shirt, or even perhaps tuck it in your hair or your hood or something like that. Easy to conceal, easy to get past any sort of guards, and it will still do the trick. This is an ideal blade for something like a sneaky assassination. And of course, because they are a set, they also have this very lovely, simple but quite effective carrying case too. So if you don't necessarily need to conceal it, you can also just have them both in there and on a belt or a satchel strap or something like that. So, quite delightful, if you ask me. Well, that is quite a lot that Knobb showed you all at once, but as you can see, there's no need to go and walk around the rest of the market because Knobb has anything that you might possibly need. Don't you think? Good, 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 good. You know what? Knobb actually, it's maybe actually a good thing you are here because Knobb has sort of a job that Knobb needed done today, and Knobb was not able to find someone to do it. So, if you were able to do this for Knobb, then perhaps Knobb could give you some of the profits from Knobb's market today, alright? Knobb needs you to go into the forest and find a very specific flower, alright? It's very rare, you might need to look for a while, but if you happen to find it, Knobb will pay you handsomely for your efforts, alright? It is a little blue flower with red thorns. Do you think that perhaps you could get out of the market here and go into the forest and see if you could find Knobb's mysterious flower? Blue flower, red thorns. Blue flower, red thorns. Think you could do that for Knobb? Excellent. Well, why don't you skedaddle then, get out of this very unsavory place and do a perfectly wholesome and savory and not at all mysterious mission for Knobb, alright? Alright, get on out of here. I suppose now we'll get in trouble for that from some of the other goblins, but someone as silly and gullible as them should be nowhere near the market, shall we? I know, they just can never seem to take care of themselves. It's a good thing that they are friends with Knobb. Otherwise they would be completely at a loss. That's what I'm saying, I know.